Hi there. I have another good story. This one involves, again, we're on the topic of marriage, so I'm thinking about it. So I went to a very, very fancy party on the eve before New Year's with about 200 people, all influencers, all at a very fancy place. And what I'm up to is I'm asking people what they think about the word of the day and is it something they'd be interested in because my book's coming out and I am trying to get a flavor for what my next book is because I'm working on it. So here's what happened 3 times in a row. I walk up or I'm introduced to some lovely couple that seem to be incredibly happy married. They're successful together. They have their arms around each other. They look great. It's all smiley, smiley for the camera. And then this happened 3 times. The husband goes off to get a glass of wine or for a rest or whatever. And the woman looks at me and she goes, I'm really having a hard time with my husband. I've hit an age where, I'm either perimenopausal, menopausal, or something, and I feel like I'm ready for a new life, and he's ready to go sit in the rocking chair with the grandkids, and I don't know what to do about it. And my answer has been for years that and this is important that we are all brainwashed about what menopause and menses in general are, and that is a much longer conversation. But the short version of this is that what happens is when you hit menopause, you get a rush of testosterone. And to my way of thinking, this is your second chance. In other words, you've done your biological duty, you've raised the kids, and so on and so forth. And to my way of thinking, and what I said to all 3 of these ladies was, now it's your turn. What was that dream that you put aside in order to have the kids and help the husband and all that stuff? And one of them broke into tears, and she hadn't had quite enough to drink to justify this, so I think they were sincere. And she cried in my arms until her husband came back. And then when he went back off again, she said, I was going to be a photographer. And then somehow I ended up, working in his business. And 30 years later, we're very successful. We own houses and whatever. And I'm miserable. And I said, well, I really hate to tell you this. This is the same issue, which is, do you trust yourself enough to save yourself? Because you got to save yourself. Because otherwise, you're going to get old and you're going to get bitter. And there will be a moment when you no longer have this sudden burst of energy and physicality to go and resume your career. And anyway, this one who I really love, she stopped crying. And then she said, but, I have to work. I have a business. And I said, okay, here's what we do. You plan your escape. How many more years do you have to work to make enough money so you can invest it at, 5 or 6% or whatever we're doing now, so you can stop doing it? Smiles broke out. Her face came back. Her husband came back. She hugged him. You could see this transformation in this person from a sort of bitter, sad person into a happy, hopeful one. So whatever you're up to and whatever your issues are, please have a conversation with yourself about what that dream was and would you like to try to experience that dream before you die or before you get old, whatever your stop point is. And sit down and have a practical conversation again with yourself as if you are a friend, mentor, or spouse, and see how long it would really take you to get yourself free in order to pursue your dream. So if you like what I'm talking about, join me, subscribe, come to a webinar, and if you really love it, buy a book. Okay, bye for now.